these three precious little people. Ridley is 9, Cameron is 6, and Nora is almost 3 this coming week. They bring us so much joy. We homeschool and enjoy spending our days together on our little slice of Alabama heaven. I am far from perfect, but the person that you see standing here is not the same person you would have met 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, even 2 years ago. The work that I have put in on myself has been hard, but good. So let's talk fear. If you have valor with you or believe, I want you to pull that oil out and slather it all over yourself, share it with your neighbor. We're going to make this room smell amazing. These 2 oils have been huge emotional support for me over the past few years. Okay, so I want to know, who here struggles with fear? Yeah, probably almost everybody. Have you ever sat in an audience wondering in amazement of other people on the stage, leading and speaking, and you're sitting there thinking, you may even be thinking this now. I could never do that. I would never do that. I would be scared out of my mind. I would never be so brave. I would never have the guts to lead the way that they do. I have. I've been there. Have you ever been presented with an opportunity to go do something, to help someone, to step outside your comfort zone, to open your mouth with an encouraging word, maybe to a tired mama in the grocery store checkout line, maybe offer her an encouraging word or a swipe of stress away, and your heart says, do it, but your head says, no way. All my life, I have struggled with fear, and I don't think it's particularly unusual or unique to me. The problem is that we just don't talk about it enough. It's hard to open up about our fears. So today, we are going to open the can of worms. We are going to rip the bandage off so that we no longer feel alone with our fears. We only become fearless by recognizing exactly what we are afraid of and by taking action in spite of it. I love this quote from Arianna Huffington: we master our fears by embracing them, not by subduing them. As a little girl, I remember being worried and scared to go to sleep at night for fear of not waking up. I was fearful of tornadoes. We had those a lot in Alabama. We lived in a mobile home, so we couldn't just stay there. Many, many days and nights, I remember us getting in the car and driving next door to my great uncle's house. We would splash through the wet yard and the pounding rain to the underground storm shelter. Then I was scared of all the spiders, and I wondered if there were snakes in that nasty, dark place. As I grew into my teenage years, I often feared saying the wrong thing or doing something that would offend or upset someone. I was a preacher's kid, so that probably did not help. On 9/11, I was a brand spanking new freshman in college 400 miles away from home. Talk about fear. I was scared. I was at work as a teacher's aide watching all of the tragedy unfold on the TV that they brought into the teacher's lounge, where I was coloring, copying, collating, and doing other projects that I did every day. I wondered if I would ever see my family again. I legitimately thought that. Where would these terrorists strike next? I had a lot of fear. In my college speech class, I was forced to talk to my very small classroom of classmates and my professor. I was terrified. My voice shook, my hands and my armpits sweat buckets, and I was terrified. Somehow I passed that class. As a young mom, I joined social media, and as my network grew over time, I started seeing this person was sick with this, that person was sick with that, this person lost a baby, this person lost a spouse. I felt riddled with fear and worry. Would I be next? Would my family be next? I was also scared to fly. Were all those bumps and creaks and noises normal? I was fearful of being asked to speak in front of people. I was terrified to have to be in social situations where I would have to talk to other people that I didn't know. I mean, small talk is terrible. Can we just agree? I was no desire to be anybody. I just wanted to keep my fears and be happy inside my comfort zone. Do any of these fears resonate with you? Do you share them? I was handicapped by my fears. They held me back too much. I was pretty happy and comfortable. Everything was good. I was fearful, but I was okay. Then a crazy thing happened. I joined Young Living. Yeah, that crazy thing. Crazy story. And I had to travel, which means I had to fly. The second time I had ever been on a plane was when I accidentally won a spot on the very first Drive to Win contest trip in Hawaii. I was excited and insanely scared. Hawaii? Like for real? Not only would I have to fly, I would have to fly over the ocean. Terrifying. But I said yes. This was my third life-changing yes in regards to Young Living. My number one was saying yes to joining a network marketing company, which I said I would never do. My number two yes was reluctantly admitting that I'm doing this, whether I like it or not. I had previously vowed that I would never share Young Living with anyone. My number three yes was accepting this reward trip. This is the trip that changed everything for me. I fell head over heels in love with this company that I vowed I would never promote, again, because of fear. Fear of what people would think, fear of what they would say to my face or behind my back. Fear is a beast, isn't it? That trip landed me on a bus on the way to the Hawaiian Sandalwood Farm across from Gary Young, listening to him share his heart. He told about how Joy Essential Oil Blend used to be called Love and how it was used to save a lady's marriage. He told about how her husband hated oils, so she would diffuse while he was gone to work in the field all day. She also put Joy in his underwear. So if you have any grumpy husbands, put Joy in the underwear. Okay. One day, a few months later, he came home early from work and she was still diffusing while she did housework. She froze in anticipation of the verbal abuse that she had experienced in the past. He walked in, paused, and said, "What is that incredible smell?" And he walked over, gave her a hug and a kiss, and told her he loved her for the first time in years. Just incredible. And listening to Gary tell that story was so impactful for me because he could not tell that story without tears. And just the connection that he had with people and how they felt was just, it impacted me deeply. I quickly learned that I would be traveling a lot more than ever before. I had a fast-growing team of people that I had to show up for. I had to lead, even though I really didn't know that much about leadership. I'm the oldest child, you know, the bossy big sister. I'm the project person, the person who gets stuff done and done well. I had a few leadership skills, but not nearly enough. I just wanted to introvert and be left alone. But these people, who was going to show up for them? Who was going to lead them? Who was going to encourage them? Me. The buck stops here, and you know what? The buck stops with you too. Even if you have one friend you shared with who got their kit with your link, the buck stops with you. And then there's the speaking part. Oh my word, you guys. When I was a blogger, back in my blogging days, I thought I was a superstar. Now I look back at videos that I did, and I literally want to die. I was not a great communicator, but I've grown a lot from the uhs and ums and awkward robot-sounding rehearsed language. The bottom line is that I lacked confidence, and my heart was just so afraid of what I would say wrong or what people would think. Proverbs says, "The fear of man brings a snare." What is a snare? A snare is a trap for catching birds or small animals. It consists of this loop of wire or rope that pulls tight around its prey and makes it very, very difficult to escape. Isn't this so true about fear? Doesn't the fear of what people think keep us shut up? Yes, it does. Fear is a liar, but it seems so often that it is speaking truth. Many of you also struggle with fear. It's incredibly common, but you know what? You are made for greater. You are meant for something more. You each have so much potential when you can get out of your own way. You are your biggest obstacle to overcome, and I am mine. You have talents, gifts, a voice, and a story that is uniquely you. Fear and doubt hold us hostage. Fear makes us hate ourselves. Fear makes us worry. Fear makes us irritable. Fear pulls our focus away from our calling. Fear makes us anxious. Fear makes us mean to ourselves. Fear makes us depressed, negative, and judgmental of others. I love this quote from Roy Bennett. You have two choices: to conquer your fear or to let your fear conquer you. So today we're going to talk about some specific steps that you can take to get out of your own way so that you can live fearlessly. The obstacle between what you're called to do and what you're doing right now is fear. It will stand as co-captain of your ship if you give it that place. So number one is to recognize your fears. What are you fearful of? I hope you've been taking notes. I know a lot of you have. So I want you to, if you don't have your pen and paper ready, I want you to pull it out. And I want you to write out 5 specific fears. You don't need to share this with the person sitting beside you. I want you to be vulnerable and real and let yourself really go there to that hard place where you've wanted to keep it covered up for so long. A massive piece to overcoming the fear puzzle is calling fears what they are. By writing your fears down, you are calling them out on their deception in your life. Today is the day that you call your fears out on the handicap that they have been in your life, heart, soul, and mind. If you're shooting in the dark at some ambiguous fear, you're not going to know where to focus. You won't conquer it because you'll be shooting at nothing. It will hold you hostage forever. And just think, we're all together in this room, and we're all going to call out our fears together. So, do you have your list? Do you have your 5 fears? What do they make you do? Do they shut you up? Do they keep you from living fully? Do they hold you back from being the best woman, man, spouse, parent, friend, sister, leader, the best human? What specific ways do your 5 fears hold you back? Be specific on your list. My top 5 fears that I have been punching in the face for the last few years are these: fear of what people will think, fear of lying and not being in control, fear of public speaking, how funny is that? Fear of tragedy, and fear of letting people down. How did they hold me back? They held me back by making me silent. Are your fears making you silent? I would imagine that your fears have kept you silent about something. Fear of flying held me back from discovering the world. Fear of public speaking decidedly made me believe that I could not do this. Fear of tragedy made me anxious and worrisome and a hermit at times. Fear of letting people down kept me quiet and hindered me from leading out loud. I wanted to lead from the shadows where I could hide. But that's no way to live. So what do we do once we recognize our fears and how they have affected us? Number 2 is to change your thoughts and thought patterns. And this may be more important than you probably initially realize. Did you know that you can retrain or rewire your brain to think differently? Your subconscious mind will follow the thoughts that you think about, and you get to choose your thoughts. Thought patterns are just as important as the thoughts themselves. Your thought seeds will greatly impact your harvest, the outcome of your thoughts. 2 things have helped me change my thoughts and thought patterns. The first thing is to know your triggers. This is really, really huge because certain people, situations, various circumstances often set in motion for us a stream of negative self-talk. So it's really important to be aware of them. Some people may make you feel overly critical of yourself. Some people may make you suddenly question your self-worth. But when you're aware of those things that trigger you, you can prepare yourself and feel more in control of your thoughts versus falling back into your old negative thinking patterns. The next thing is that this is your responsibility. Your thoughts are your responsibility. No one else gets to choose this for you. No one else gets to tell you what to think about. You are responsible. And it's easy to pass blame and responsibility about this based on our circumstances. But in spite of whatever situation we're in, it doesn't matter what situation we're in, we are responsible. You are responsible for you, and I am responsible for me. You get to choose if you're going to think positively or negatively. You get to choose whether you will have an entitlement or abundant mindset. You get to choose if you're going to operate from a place of scarcity or abundance. You get to choose. You get to choose if you are going to be led by love or led by fear. You get to choose. Fear destroys, but love builds. This next point is one of my very favorites because it's trick your mind. I do this all the time. Trick your mind by reframing fear. So what do I mean by reframing fear? I mean trick your brain by calling fear something different. Just the word fear sounds intimidating, right? When I think of fear, I think of that emoji, the guy with the big eyes, and he's like this. That's what I think about. Fear sounds intimidating. So what I like to do, what I have learned to do, this has been active, intentional learning on my part, is to retrain my brain by calling fear excitement. You might think this sounds a little crazy, but I promise you it works. Being excited counteracts fear. I was excited to go to Hawaii. Scared to death to fly over the ocean, but Hawaii, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, yes, I wanted to go. I wanted to say yes. My brain said no, but my heart said go and be excited. I love this quote from Bear Grylls. He said, being brave isn't the absence of fear. Being brave is having that fear, but finding a way through it. The last several times I've had to speak in front of a larger audience, I've used the words, I'm so excited. Those 3 words, kind of 4 words, I'm so excited, have changed everything for me. They've really helped switch my brain from feeling like I'm so nervous, because if you say, I'm so nervous, you're going to be like, ah! And if you're like, I'm so excited, you're going to be like, yes, I can do this. And so it's a complete switch of how you think. As I'm preparing what I'm going to say, up until the time that I am up here, it's one of the first things I say when you might have noticed, I said, I'm so excited to be here today. I mean, if I'm not excited to be here, you're not going to be very excited to listen to me, right? So I choose to trick my brain by redirecting my fear, the energy that I would put into being anxious and fearful, into being excited. I get to talk to you all today. That's exciting. So I have found that having fun music has helped me just really get excited to speak. And sometimes you just fake confidence. And I'm not kidding. If you don't feel confident, you fake it. And you fake it, and you fake it. And eventually, you'll feel confident. But trust me, if I can do this, so can you. Okay, number 4 is visualize your life without fear. Okay, I want you to take a deep breath and close your eyes. Everybody, no peekers. I know how this goes at church. Okay, so close your eyes and visualize and really feel the answers to these questions. What could your life look like without fear? Where would you go? What would you do? How would you do it? What influence would you have? What if you just let yourself fly? What would that look like? What would that feel like? What dreams could you accomplish? How far could you soar? How could you grow your team? How could you share wellness? How could you be a better version of you? Why is overcoming your fears important to you? What does overcoming them look like? What is that still small voice telling you that you still can't do it? Are those things real or imagined? Are they truth or lies? Visualize yourself on the edge of a cliff. What if this cliff was the edge of greatness, the edge of success, the edge of fearlessness, the edge of your dreams? Can you see yourself jumping? Can you feel just how good it really feels to overcome your fears? There is freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky, and you ask, what if I fall? Oh, but my darling, what if you fly? You are capable of flying. Okay, you can open your eyes. I want you to remember this feeling and this visualization and keep it in your heart and revisit it often because you are capable. Number 5 is to do it anyway. You've probably heard the phrase, do it scared. But actually, I prefer to word that in a more positive way and say, do it brave. The most difficult step is the first step. If you're a parent, you know this is true. That first step for your babies is the most tender, hesitating, vulnerable, even fearful step. Even if they sit right back down after one step, it's okay. You're still proud of them for trying, right? This progress is powerful because they're doing something. So today, it's time for you to show fear who's boss. It's time to kick fear out of the driver's seat and even out of the co-pilot seat because you're the boss and fear is not. Here are a few ways to put feet to fearlessness. The first is to be intentional. You won't go anywhere if you do not prioritize it. You have to set the intention to change. It's a choice that you get to make for yourself. You have to choose to take those first steps. You have to choose to put yourself out there. You have to choose little by little by little to change your mindset. You have to choose to say yes to scary situations and those that require awkward or non-existent social skills like me. You get to develop yourself. You're not today, you're not who you were 5 years ago, and you're not going to be the same person in 5 years. Let the process work on you. Embrace the process of growth, and let your life experiences shape you into a better human. And choose to say yes to the hard things. Do them bravely and with confidence, because even if you have to fool yourself into believing that you're confident before you really are. The next thing is to give yourself grace. Moving from fearful to fearless will not happen overnight. It won't be a giant leap. It will be a slow, steady process made up of everyday small choices. If you're terrified of speaking in front of a crowd, please don't sign up to go speak at convention. Just start having some classes. Maybe go live on Facebook. Take some baby steps. Baby steps are everything. If you're terrified of flying across the ocean like I was, you can rip the bandage off and go fly to Europe or something, or you can take a closer trip that inches you outside your comfort zone. If you're absolutely frightened of having to work a room networking with people that you don't really know, when you'd much rather be in the corner with a few friends that you're comfortable with, just make yourself talk to a couple of people after church or your next community gathering. Then the next time, talk to 3 or 4. Then the next time, talk to 5 or 6. You can do this, but baby steps and giving yourself grace to take it slow makes it doable and not quite so overwhelming. So I want you to write down on your piece of paper one thing that you are going to do today to help you take the leap to overcoming your fears. The next thing is to learn your energy. This is so important. It's about how you build energy and how you keep it. As you seek to grow and develop yourself, it's so important to keep your energy store in mind. You know the old adage that says you can't give what you don't have? Well, becoming fearless takes energy. So how do you build your energy? We all create energy in different ways. The extroverts are energized by being around lots of people. They love social situations. They probably love the life of the party. Not all extroverts are like that. Some really do thrive on smaller gatherings. I'm an introvert, like hardcore introvert. You probably did not know that, but I am through and through introvert. I would rather be behind my computer screen or a phone. I would much rather talk to you through Facebook Live or a post. But the reason for that is that I recharge my energy store by being by myself. I love being by myself. Sometimes I just have to walk away, even from my children, and hide for just a few minutes because people drain me. That's just who I am. I'm a feeler, I'm a giver, I'm an empath. I love people. I love helping people. I love hearing their story. I love it so much. And I can hardly contain my joy when I'm around other people. But I know myself, and I've learned to be mindful of my energy. After convention, I literally want to be taken to like a psych ward where there's 4 white sterile walls and complete silence for like a week or maybe a month. But that's not reality, right? So I encourage you to study yourself. How do you gain energy? How do you feel when you give energy? How do you restore your energy? It matters. It matters. And you can take time for yourself, invest in yourself, because it is one of the best ways to improve you. The next thing is to use affirmations. I love affirmations because they're pivotal for retraining your brain and visualizing your life without fear. Here are just a few to give you some ideas. You can come up with your own, but I really want you to use affirmations. I am willing to release my fears. I am fearless. I free myself from all destructive fears and doubts. I am compassionate and graceful with others and myself. I am solution driven. I am not afraid of obstacles. I let go of fearing mistakes and failure. I rise above thoughts that attempt to make me afraid. These are just a few, but find one that is perfect for you and repeat it out loud and use your oil of choice when you're at home in front of the bathroom mirror. I want you to stand with your hands on your hips like you're like Wonder Woman or a boss or whatever you want to do. But I know it sounds silly and it probably feels silly, but when you do that and you repeatedly do it every single day, multiple times a day, it will really impact how you feel about it. Today, when I speak, whenever doors open, I work really hard to say yes and figure out the details later. My husband's really good at that. I am not. I travel and I enjoy it a lot. When I fly, these are my tips. I put my earbuds hard into my ear, turn on some music, crank it up as loud as it'll go. That way you don't hear the weird airplane noises. I love to put a couple of drops of frankincense vitality under my tongue because it's like an automatic chill pill. And then I imagine that we're just flying on eagle's wings. I also socialize. It's really still not my favorite. But I do the hard things. And you know what? I'm still afraid sometimes. I've done some really hard, big things in the last few weeks. But I did them brave. I had to put my foot out there and take the first step. One time or 2 times it felt like I was putting my neck on the chopping block, but I did it anyway because I knew it was the right thing to do. It is high time that we stop sabotaging our own success by shutting ourselves down. You know you're a pro at that, right? We all are, and it's time to get out of our own way. As an example of this, I love to lift weights. I love to pick up the heavy stuff. 6 months ago, I hurt my back doing my favorite lift, the deadlift. It's not anything super serious. It's something that I'm healing from, but it's been hard. It has been hard to show up to the gym 6 days a week for the last 6 months and scale and modify every single thing that I couldn't do because of my back. But I did it anyway. And because I did it anyway, 6 months from when that happened, I'm further along in my progress that I want to have at the gym than if I had just quit when things got tough. I could have quit, but I chose not to. And I'm just now starting to deadlift again without pain, so that's a huge blessing. You are faced with similar choices every day. Are you going to show up? Are you going to let fear hold you back and keep you quiet? What will you choose? Fear robs you of your freedom to make the right choice in life that can bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. On the other side of fear lies freedom. If you want to grow, you need to be brave and take risks. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. You are capable of being a fearless warrior that no one can shut down. You say yes and do things brave. You are focused on your calling, come what may. Who cares what people think? You are confident. You are a positive influence on your inner circle and the world. You realize that you won't please everyone. You are kind to yourself and others. You are no longer handicapped from being the best version of you. You live life to the fullest. You realize and embrace that you are capable of overcoming your greatest fears. You are worthy and valued and loved. Today, you make the switch, the change, and take the leap from fearful to fearless. I want to end with this incredible quote from my friend Edie's book. Her book is called All the Pretty Things, and if you don't have it, you need to get it. I imagine that you and I and a multitude of sisters are huddled together at the edge of the bluff, wondering what it would be like to jump, to live our lives from the deep end, unafraid to be jolted awake from the sleepy lies we've believed about who we are and what we were created to do. I look around and see courage on your face, bravery in your eyes. In my mind, I take a running start and leap wild off the edge, arms and legs flailing against the free fall, splashing into the deep blue river. For what seems like a long time, I am underwater and everything is in slow motion. But then I spring up toward the light, that same light that is always calling me home. Breaking the surface, I gasp and choke, and then I cry, sob even, surprised and thankful that I am still alive, that I have breath. Tears turn to laughter as I yell back to you, who are poised on the edge of the precipice. Come on, my sister. Don't wait until you're not afraid. Jump scared. Or as I like to say, jump brave. Take the leap with me today, fearlessly, because we're doing this together. I love you all. Thank you so much.